Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Professional Witches. I am very excited today to be introducing to you Isaya Gabriel, who is the goddess witch. She's an incredible lady with lots to tell us. So I hope you get a lot out of today's episode. I met Isaiah when she was running a tarot card conference last year, and I appeared on there doing readings. But I will let her introduce herself. So, welcome, Isaiah.
Hey
How are you?
Fiona, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming on and sharing your infinite wisdom with us. So, tell us a little bit about why you're the goddess witch and your work with goddesses.
So I was born in Greece many years ago. Oh my God. Oh my goddess, rather. And I'm an only child. My mother was used to is Greek, obviously. And when I was a child, my parents were hippies. So we kind of moved around Europe in various communes and communities. And I did not have a lot of toys or a book or possessions basically. And my mom was telling me the stories of the Greek mythology, just like usually you would tell fairy tales. So I had a couple of dolls, and my dolls were named Athena and Aphrodite. So I was in close contact with the Greek gods and goddesses from a very, very early age. I actually reenacted the mythology stories with a couple of dolls or, with my pets or whatever was around or whoever I could enroll into my plays. So I was a theater kid very, very early on. And I kind of have been familiar with the Greek mythology, the Greek gods, and mostly the Greek goddesses from a very young age. There are some people who talk with the archangels, or, well, I talk with the goddesses, or rather, they talk to me. They're kind of my besties, my companions, let's put it this way. And so fast forward 40 years, I did many, many things in my life. I was a bookshop keeper. I was an English teacher. I ran a B&B. I did really as many professions as you can imagine. And a few years back, I decided that I was kind of gifted a healing modal, a healing practice, a way to get happier and to get better by the Greek goddesses. And so I decided that I needed to transmit that to other people, to other women, basically. And I've been working with the Divine Feminine for over 20 years in various things. I've been doing artist workshops or red tents, women's circles, retreats in various places of the world. I actually live in France, and I'm half Swiss, half Greek, and I live in France. And as you see, I work and speak English most of the time. So I'm kind of a very international person, and
Mm.
that opened for a very international way to work. Again, if you fast forward a little bit, you will end up with me in COVID times. And that is when I was gifted again the opportunity to work with people very, very far away. Up until then, I was working mostly in French with my French ladies, and we were having retreats and work circles around here in this area and or in the towns around. But COVID gave me the opportunity to open up my women's circles to women from Paris or the other end of France. And then I had a UK friend who said, "Hey, if you're doing that remotely, can you do it in English?" And voila, I started doing things in English. And after COVID, I more or less closed my French business, and now I mostly work in English. Although this year, with life happening, I'm again been asked by French people, French women, to work with them. So might be doing more French thing. So yeah, it's been a journey with the goddesses, and we talk about in the spiritual world, we talk about having a spirit team. Well, most of my spirit team is based in the Greek mythology, basically, although Archangel Gabriel is, it's my name. It's actually my real name, believe it or not, Gabriel. It's my mother's maiden name. So, and I decided to take it again after my father passed away, and I really didn't want to have anything to do with him anymore. So I took back my mother's name. So yeah, I do have some connection with the traditional spirit, archangels, etc. But most of my friends are Athena, Aphrodite, Artemis, and the like.
So it's the Greek goddesses that you particularly identify with.
I am connected with them very much so. But at the same time, when I started working with women and running spirituality circles and women's circles and red tents, I opened up to more of that. And then I got to meet the Celtic goddesses. And I fell in love. As you hear, my English is quite good. Not to brag or anything, but for a French person. And that is because I've spent a lot of time in the UK and in Ireland, and I'm kind of obsessed with all the Celts, and for some reason I have some connection there. The first time I went to the UK, I was 13, I think, and it was like a revelation thing. And then the first time I went to Ireland, which was very much later, the only thing that I could say about Ireland is when I put my feet on the ground and I thought, the land knows my name. It felt like this is home again.
There's something about the
another home.
Celtic lands. There is definitely something about the Celtic lands. There's a lot of Celtic in me, and it is very captures the imagination. Definitely something special there. Special witchy energy. I mean, as you know, I'm in Brittany, so we're actually based in France. You're my first guest in France.
I'm a local.
And yeah, Brittany has got that Celtic vibe to it as well, very much.
I love Brittany very much.
Yeah, no, next time you're here, you must call by. But what I really loved, you said that the goddesses gave you a healing like modality.
Yes, it was kind of it came as a so there's one particular goddess in the Greek pantheon who's called Iris, and she is the goddess of the rainbow. And she's actually the goddess of, she's a messenger goddess. So in the Greek mythology, we have Hermes, who is a Greek messenger god, but we have a Greek messenger goddess as well. And her role in the stories is not to communicate between gods, it's to communicate between humans and gods, or between gods and humans. So just like the rainbow, from the ground to the sky, and from the sky to the ground. And so it came as a message from Iris that there was actually a way that each woman could become this messenger and communicate directly with the divine and become Iris, kind of. And so each of the goddesses I work with, there's 8 of them, they help us, let's say, align with one particular energy. And once we visit all of them, we become this rainbow of healed energy. And of course, healing is never finished, right? So it's an ongoing process. And we become this person slash goddess slash witch who is able to have a direct communication with the divine and receive messages, but also send messages. And that comes with, it starts with from the ground, always from the earth, and it starts with the goddess Gaia, who is the Greek goddess of the earth, the incarnation of the planet. And then we go up the feet, and each of the chakras is connected with one of the Greek goddesses. And then we end up on the crown chakra with Iris, goddess of the rainbow. And we kind of direct our energy and become this pillar of light, of rainbow light, that can communicate directly with the divine. kind of
Through the
very
soul
shortly.
chakra. Yeah, no, that's I
Yeah.
love that. And obviously that's, that's something that I did intuitively from when I first learned to meditate when I was 19. It was from a book and it was about opening your chakras. And
Hmm.
I added the bits myself about going rooting and then going skyward. And then later found out that that was actually something that people do.
Hmm.
It's all this innate knowledge that comes through us, isn't it? Um, and I wanted to actually ask you something slightly on a personal level, because my guardian angel is actually a goddess. Um, and that was
Awesome.
something that, yes, no, it's not something you talk about very much with people, even those in the spiritual world. Sometimes I think I feel slightly like people are going to think I'm a bit, whatever. They're going to think what they think. I don't care. But so it turned out, long story short, that it's Aurora, the Roman goddess of the dawn. And yeah, and she came to me from when I was a very young child, like maybe, well, probably always, but I remember when I was maybe 2 or 3 years old, seeing her and having conversations with her. And so there seems to be a Roman Greek equivalent for most of them. Do you know who the Greek
So
goddess
the
of
the
dawn is?
the oh, yes, I do. She's called Avgi in Greek. I don't know how she's called in English though.
Ah,
Avgi,
how
and
do you
it
spell
means
that?
dawn, obviously. Um,
Yeah,
I will have to have a look about how you spell that. I will send you
okay.
a because like I know how to spell it in Greek, but I don't know how it goes into
Yeah, yes, it's
the
Cyrillic.
Roman
Yeah,
alphabet.
okay.
Most Greek goddesses and gods have equivalents for in Romans and sometimes in the Vikings as well.
Norse, yeah.
But each of the equivalents is not exactly the
Mhm.
the original. So it's
Yeah.
slightly different because of the culture of the land where these goddesses and gods were revered. Um, they they are infused with more or with a different thing. So if your connection is to Aurora, I would stick to Aurora.
Oh,
And you know,
absolutely. Yeah, that's the name that.
because Avgi might not be exactly the same one. So, for
Mm.
instance, even with the Celts, there is a connection. One of the Greek goddesses, sorry, I love very much is, sorry, I have a blank now. Sorry, she's the goddess of the sacred flame, Estia. Sorry, that's it. So
Hmm.
in Greek we call her Estia. I think some of the English pronunciation is Hestia. I'm not never sure.
Hmm.
And she is connected with the third chakra. She's all about the color yellow, and she's
Hmm.
the goddess of the sacred flame. She reminds us that if we let go of that flame, if we don't tend to our sacred fire, we kind of dim our light and we disappear.
Hmm.
And she is very much connected with Brigid, so with the Celtic
Yes,
goddess
that's who I
Brigid.
thought. Yeah.
But they're not the same. They are kind of twin sisters, but not the same.
Hmm.
So I don't know enough about Aurora to tell you so, but I would go and investigate Avgi for sure. But
I'm certainly going to
yours is
have a look.
yours, and they're not absolutely they're twin sisters or things like that, but they're not the same ever
Mhm.
because of the belief of the people that are different.
They're not identical twins. No, but
Yeah,
identical twins are not the same even,
yeah.
invariably. No, this is fascinating. I could talk goddesses all day, and it is a fascinating
So
subject.
yeah, it is really fascinating. And then the next step in my personal evolution was I was kind of given an order, like an injunction. Now you go and live a goddess life. And I was like, sorry, what? What do you mean, ladies? Am I supposed to be, I'm just me, just little poor Isaiah. And I was literally told that my life could be my message and that this was, I'm wearing this thing that says inspire here, and I think
Mhm.
this is the message. So I was told live a goddess life and inspire others to do the same. Now, what the actual F is a goddess life? That's the big question, right?
You tell us.
And the answer is, well, the answer is, I don't know. What is it for you? But it has to be different than what it is for me. And so I've been searching, like investigating what is a goddess life for me, what is my goddess life, and pulling myself towards that as much as possible, whatever the circumstances, whatever the money that I have, whatever the people around me, and really, so I call that living a goddess life undeterred. Um, and that is because shit happens, right? And it's going to happen in everybody's life. And the question is not that, well, the answer is never to believe that living a goddess life or being a goddess or a woman goddess or a human goddess, it means that, I live in this mushy-mushy world of everything is perfect and all is blue and pink and there's sparkles everywhere. This is not what it is for me, and I don't think it is for anyone. I think what the foundation of living a goddess life is living a life that is authentic to you, to whoever you are. And that gives me, at least, strength and courage and energy to face when the shit happens. Because it's easy to, play the sparkly goddess when everything is fine. Now, when shit hits the fan, that's when I can feel. And this is some of the days that I'm really so freaking proud of myself. So I've been doing this work, and sometimes it's really deep shadow work because there is so much fear on owning the I'm a goddess and I deserve to, and there's magic and I'm a witch. Oh my God, there's all this fear of visibility of the witch wound. I'm not going to go into this right now, but you know what I'm talking about. And there is this working through these layers and cleaning up all that and owning more and more of who I truly am, being authentic, talking my truth, walking my talk. So using my life to be my message in whatever joyful, happy, sad, dramatic, angry moment. And so I write a blog, and I've been writing for a few years now. And I use this blog to let the people know how I feel, what's happening. So if everything's fine, well, I'll talk about the beauty of gratitude and the magic that it lies in the little leaves growing in the springtime and the moon and, et cetera, et cetera. Now, sometimes, I'm angry because I remember the way I gave birth and the very, very not caring people that I met in the hospital, or I get cancer, which is a thing that's happening right now. And this is when I again have to go to the living a goddess life undeterred, and I have to go to it first and foremost is my connection to the divine, is my connection to the universe, is the gratitude for being here. And that is what is the healing process. That is what is making me a goddess every day. Not that I am all smiles and makeup and, beautiful dresses. And although that's cool, I like that. But
No, it's
yeah, so undeterred. That's the hardest part or the
yeah.
funniest part.
Yeah, and actually for me, when shit does hit fan, it's important to remember that there's a reason for this. It's not just crap happening to you, although
No,
it's okay to feel crappy
never.
about it because we are human, but also there's always something in it for us to take away.
Absolutely.
There's lessons, there's things, and there's blessings in there always. I've been challenged on that belief before and said, "Oh, can you say there's a blessing when I don't know? It's there's many terrible things like a war is happening. Where's the blessing in that?" that's not for me to answer. It's for
No,
people in that situation to
no,
find for themselves. But it does happen. A lot of the time, it brings out people's humanity. It may be atrocities happening from one side, but another side, people's humanity really comes to the fore, and
no.
people
I
start
really
to.
think that we have to stick to the only thing that we can deal with, which is ourselves.
Mhm,
The very famous put on your oxygen mask before you try to help anyone else. And
mhm,
that is every day. And as far as I'm concerned, my very strong belief is that everything happens for me, not to
mm,
me, but for me.
sweet.
Everything.
Mm,
The joy, the crazy wealth or the crazy poverty, the cancer happens for me. And it's for me that my work, my life's work, and maybe multiple lives, is to find why. Why is that happening to me? And
mm,
there I get the message. I get the message from the universe, from the divine. So I am again this Iris goddess connected. And that is my job, basically. That's why I'm here on this planet. I believe that that is actually why I chose to be is here on this planet at this moment,
mm.
is for these things to happen to me and then understand why they are happening for me.
For your soul to evolve with it,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
beautiful process, isn't it? But you've got many things that you do in your
I do
practice.
many things. Yes, I'm a multi-passionate person, which
Ah.
every business expert will tell you it's wrong. But,
Yes, I hate
um,
this for me. It's difficult for me to niche. And I think you
yeah.
probably find the same thing. Oh, just
No,
pick
I,
one.
the, I'm not going to go into business coaching or anything of the sort, but
Yeah.
very clearly for me, I can't do that. I can't niche, and I'm going to. What I'm going to stick to is believing that my people will find me,
Absolutely.
and that's
Absolutely.
what. So, yeah. So first and foremost, I am a creative. So I create every day, even when I'm not working, which is right now the case with the cancer thing. So I write, I paint, and I craft roughly every day. Not all three, but yeah. So I create every day, or I cook. Now I'm on to cooking for these days, which I wasn't for years, and now so I'm creative cooking these days. Um, then or at the same time I don't like to call myself a coach because coaching is a process, very specific, and I prefer to use the term mentor. So I talk with
Mm,
women and they talk to me and it seems to be interesting for them.
mhm.
So I do one-to-one work. I call these the Wise Goddess sessions. And so you can come and talk to me and we have a conversation. I have maybe some advice, very often too much advice, because I'm a very talkative person and I have many ideas. I have a real passion for working with groups of women. So I've been running women's circles and red tents for years and years. And I also do some creative groups. So we do art together. We do what I call meditative art. So it's basically a set of practices that are not intended to create beautiful art, but
Mhm,
to create a space for the woman or the women coming to be to disconnect from the mundane, from their lives, etc., etc. And we use our fingers to do so. So dirty fingers, empty mind. That's my one of my things. Some people do gardening. I do
mhm,
art this way, and I teach that as well. I'm a teacher. I've been teaching loads of things, including the English language for a while in middle school here, but also salsa dancing.
bit of salsa.
So, yeah, long ago when I was young and thinner, maybe next year or the years after, who knows?
Mhm,
And I happen to be a tech person on top of all that. Because I've been playing with computers ever since I was 13 years old. My father was a hippie, but he was a geek hippie. And so he bought us a computer. I was 13 and I started playing with it. And so I do internet sites for women, mostly spiritual women, business women who are lost with the tech. And the tech is easy for me. I don't do much of that, some of it, when I feel that it's really aligned. The spirit of the business is really aligned with what I can do. I also do graphic design work, logos, etc. Again, for very few people, because I have not so much time, and it's really more of a labor of love and connecting on a spiritual level than just tech. You know, I'm not a techie for say, but I am a tech spiritual person. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
And when I am in good health, which is not right now, I run retreats. So that is another big one of mine. I love traveling. I call myself a traveling priestess. So I have two children and a non-traveling husband. So I'll go and work and travel at the same time. So I run retreats in Greece, you know, the goddesses were it. Also in Ireland, I've run workshops in the US. So I think I'm breaking up. Am I still here?
Yes.
I live
Apologies to
in
anybody. There's been a
France.
few moments where you've broken up a little bit, so apologies to anybody listening. Hopefully you've
I'm
got
really sorry. This
the
is
gist
this is
of
me living in the middle of nowhere, France, where the internet is not solid. Let's put it this way.
No, absolutely. I've got the same kind of problem. I get 5 meg internet on a good day. I was in a meeting this morning that went into breakout rooms, and my Zoom completely lost connection, and I had to come out of the meeting entirely and go back in. So it's a combination of that and an archaic computer that I keep procrastinating over upgrading. But there we go. It works for me. So what's the
Yeah,
favorite part
so
of what
that's
you
roughly
do?
what I do.
Yeah.
And
What's
one of
the
the
favorite
things,
part?
well, my favorite part is working with women in groups. Definitely. The retreats,
Face to
the
face.
circles, this is the most fun. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. If I can do face to face, yes, that's amazing. And if we can do that on a sacred magic land, it's even better.
Mm. Excellent.
But I also had so much fun creating the conference that you were mentioned
Yes, I was
at the
going to
beginning. So,
say.
and this is my second summit or conference that I'm running, and I love those. It's out bringing women together and all of these women sharing their knowledge. So we run together with one of my besties from the US, a summit called Women Lighting the Way, which is about sharing women's stories, because we believe that there is a very big shortage of women's stories in the world. We have so many stories about the men's success and the men's experience of life,
Mm,
but women's stories, we don't have that many. So we're participating with many other women in the world to create a library of women's stories.
mm,
And that is Women Lighting the Way. And then last year I came up with this idea to create a conference about tarot and oracle cards, but it was mostly about the people who use the cards. Not like I did not want to have only specialists and experts. I
mm,
also wanted to have people coming to talk about how they use the cards on a daily basis, whether it's for their profession or for the fun. And it was called Otoloco, but the name did not stick. And the
mm.
next iteration, which might or might not be happening at the end of 2024, is going to be called Deciverse. So the universe
Uh-huh.
of decks.
Is that the name of the app who sponsored? Was that
No, the app
Bull that was,
is
wasn't
called
it?
Decibel. Decibel.
Mm,
Decibel.
mhm.
So and hopefully we'll get to work again with Decibel. This is an amazing app for people to have digital deck cards, card decks, sorry, instead of carrying all of them when you're traveling. But it
Yes,
was
I
so
say,
amazing
looking
to
at my
meet all the
enormous
people.
pile of cards here next to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was amazing to meet all those people from around the world. So that's again, I love working in person, but the power of the internet that allows us to have and medium from Australia. We had you from France. We had people from the US, and I love that also, that we can we can find our tribes.
Yes, the crazy
Limited.
thing, about, sorry, just to apologize because you're breaking up a bit again, but just to say, through that conference, you said, oh, there's another speaker we've got in France. I'm sure she's in Brittany. And so I looked her up, Simone. She lived, I'm not joking, 20 minutes drive from my house where I lived at the time. I'm now maybe 30 minutes away from her because I've moved since I was there. Yes, Simone, and she's actually coming on to be a guest on this podcast in a few weeks' time. So that's going to be really exciting.
I love that.
Crazy thing because of the way synchronicity happens, especially with witches, because people think we make some stuff up, but no, genuinely our lives are this crazy with synchronicities. I connected with her on Facebook, and it was like, oh yeah, come, but I couldn't manage to meet up. But actually only about 2 weeks after we connected, she messaged me and said, I'm going to be playing at this bar in a place called Brass Bar, which is actually, I'm now moved in with my boyfriend, and I was staying here that night. I wasn't here full time at that point. She said, I'm in Brass Bar. It's 10 minutes from my boyfriend's place, from this house where I am now. And so I was like, I can't not go, can I? And she actually she does some wonderful Breton language music, and she did a Breton language version of Running Up That Hill. So that's a little sneak peek of what's to come in a few weeks when Simone Alvis comes on. And there'll be links to her
I
music.
love that. I love
Oh,
that.
it's
That's part
beautiful.
of the thing, I think when you said what you like the most, that's what I like the most. I like the most that whatever I do, it helps people connect,
Mhm.
whether with themselves, whether with the universe, or between different people that are meeting in my circles or in the summits or anywhere. I think that we are, as witches, we are in dire need of remembering that we're not alone. Well,
Mm.
everybody needs that, basically. But
This is one reason I actually launched this podcast, because I want to display the wide array of witches out there and just dispel some myths about what people think a witch is. And yeah,
yeah,
we don't wear purple with eyeliner up to our eyebrows and cackle over cauldrons. Some do, but that's not all it is to be a witch.
I do
It's
have a cauldron.
well,
Well,
so do
no,
I. I'm not saying
I'm
it's
still
not,
wearing t-shirts sometimes.
but I don't cackle
Yeah,
over it. Let's and
no,
it
no,
doesn't
and
sort of have dry ice
just
coming up.
like no, it's so cool that we get to break the stereotype.
Mm,
I mean, for me, um, the main thing about being a witch is the connection to nature. That's the
absolutely.
main thing. To
Mm,
nature, number one, and to magic. So if we believe, and since I believe that nature is magic and magic is
yeah,
nature,
yeah,
the whole thing does not need cauldrons, a specific dress code, or even invocations or anything.
mhm,
It's whatever. If you sit by the sea on a beach and just are taken over by the beauty of sunset. This is
mhm.
witchery.
Yes. Or standing outside and the wind blows a hoolie and you stand in the wind and just feel the energy of it pass through you. That is harnessing magic right there, and
Absolutely.
using that energy often to put some intention behind something, or to
Yeah,
send
absolutely.
blessings, or all of this, using the energy of nature to
Yeah.
magnify your intentions. Ultimately, I feel is a big
Feeling
part.
the energy and remembering that we were not meant as human beings to live in square boxes with electric lighting all day long, that there is a moon above and a sun above, but there's wind, grass, cows, lizards, and the rest of them, and the annoying bugs, because I live in a very remote agricultural zone, so we're now invaded by summer insects,
Me
which,
too.
you know,
Yeah.
is yeah, part of it.
Wise.
And yeah.
Right.
And that's part of why I think I love the Greek goddesses so much. It's because they are, all of them, each individually is connected with some bit of nature or some
Mm,
aspect of nature. We have
yeah.
Artemis, goddess of the moon. We have Demeter, god harvest. We have Gaia, obviously, goddess of the planet itself, and Artemis, which is who is so linked to the sea and the waves and the ship
Mm,
and all this flowy magic of emotions. And it's so fascinating to see how the Greeks invented or came up with or met, whoever wants to know, these goddesses who became archetypes. And nowadays, each of us, even if we don't know anything about Greek mythology, if we didn't have my mom to tell you the whole stories, we still know, you know, if I say Aphrodite, everyone has an image, immediately an image of who she is. And
yeah.
that is because she is more than just a kind of a pretty face or something like that. She is connected to something deep in the natural world. And
Hmm.
she has become an archetype because of that.
Mm, yeah. I love that. I think that there's goddesses in all of us, and
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
connecting
And
to.
also there's so I have it on my website, which I'm sure you'll reference somewhere. There is a goddess quiz. So you can take the goddess quiz. And everyone asks me, oh, is that a quiz that tells me which goddess I am? And I go, no, no, this is a goddess to tell you which goddess you need more of. So it's the
Hmm.
reverse thing. It's not that we are, as humans, we are not limited to being one goddess. We can hold them all because we are the divine, or at least I believe so. Um, but sometimes we allow some archetype to be depleted, to we forget about her. So maybe you don't have enough Artemis in your life and you are not connecting with any greenery. So you don't go into forests anytime soon,
Hmm.
or you don't connect with the moon. And the quiz is a sensory quiz, so it's not so much questions, but you know, you will have music, you will have images, and that will help you define what you need more of.
Mm,
And then through meeting this goddess and her whatever gift she has for you, then you can grow into being this rainbow that we were talking at the beginning. So this array of divinity, this yeah, rainbow of divinity,
mm.
and tend towards the having them all or being them all.
Guess there's different ways to interact with the goddess. You could have one, say
Yes.
for example, there's the Aurora who's spoken to me personally since I was a young child. She's always been with me, but then there are other goddesses. It doesn't mean I don't speak to other goddesses, it doesn't mean I don't call upon them at different points. And we're not, I mean, you particularly resonate with the Greek goddesses, but you also particularly love the Celtic goddesses and
Yeah.
but there are others. There are so many
Yeah,
different.
I also have a very profound connection with some goddesses from India. Because I was very young when my hippie parents took me to India. So I met these goddesses there, I guess. And I'm also, and my bestie is a Qigong instructor, and has made me friends with Kuan Yin. So from Chinese. So it's not, you know, it's whoever you feel connected to, and you don't need permission, you don't need knowledge. And it can be as simple as buying a card and a deck of cards with the goddesses. There are so many around.
Mhm.
I'm not going to start showing you mine because this might take a couple of hours. But you know, you can start with that, or you can start with reading the stories of the goddesses that you feel called to. There are some meditations. I actually have some free meditations on YouTube and Insight Timer that you can connect with the goddesses one by one. And then, if you want more, you can still contact me or take the goddess quiz. And in the answer to the goddess quiz, I give you some hints on how to get more of, Artemis in your life, or more of Persephone in your life, more Gaia in your life. And it doesn't have to be complicated. And that's the other thing about the witch that I wanted to say at some point, is that it never has to be a huge ceremony that can only happen once every blue moon, and where you need to spend 500 quid to have all the special equipment and the particular candles and everything. Connecting with the divine is just a desire to do so, and stopping whatever you're doing in your mundane life and taking a time for ritual and for connection, for ceremony, and voila. So it doesn't have to be complicated, and that is how you get to live a goddess life. When I feel that I can integrate ritual, ceremony, and connection to the divine to me doing the dish, and I will be doing the dishes in front of the window, and then there's this huge green tree in front of my window where I do the dishes, and I will stop and just send a prayer of gratitude for the beauty of nature, and that's me living a goddess life.
Absolutely. I think any gratitude practice is part of the goddess life, and it's part of and there's so many benefits around it, not a practical, spiritual, emotional, physical health are all improved by gratitude. So it's not a woo-woo thing at all.
No, it's not.
But it is.
It's not. And
it is, but it isn't.
Yeah, it is and it isn't. But I mean, it doesn't mean it has to be complicated, long, expensive, or you need a degree. Just go for it, And if you're going for gratitude, start with the big things like hot water. Start with the things that we never think about, the roof over our heads, the trees around, the whatever it is.
We live in peace.
Yeah.
Relatively.
Yeah.
Where we are.
That we have healthcare, that we have food and everything. And it builds up. It builds up to the place where, when I was diagnosed with cancer, I could, after the initial shock, which took me something like 20 minutes, I was on a podcast, actually, as a guest. And I had to go because I'd committed, and there I was. And I thought, I'm going to talk about that because this is what's happening to me right now. So I talked about me being diagnosed with cancer, and it's now recorded that 20 minutes after having had that diagnosis, what I said is, this is happening for me. So, and I actually believed it, which, when I think about it from the exterior, kind of extract myself, I feel, oh my God, I've kind of come a long way, 20 years ago, I would just have collapsed. And that was every day building up on the gratitude and on the connection with the divine, with myself, with facing the shadows and going forward and doing the witch work.
Absolutely, and it's what you say. I always think we kind of have an energetic level, and that can change at different parts of our lives. So when I was younger, my energetic level was very low. So a good thing would happen and I would feel happy, but then I would go back to being quite low again. And it didn't take much to drop that down lower. If something bad had happened, it would take a long, long time to get out of that. But nowadays, my energetic level is a lot higher. So if something bad happens, it takes quite a lot to pull me down and spring back very, very quickly. And it's all about all the mindset work and the spiritual work that I've done. And
it's about remembering that we have to be sure that whatever happens, so we are undeterred. This is not, my happiness cannot be circumstantial, because otherwise my unhappiness is circumstantial as well. So if good things happen, I'm happy. If bad things happen, I'm unhappy, and not as to be going up and down energetically drives you crazy, right? Although
And it's
crazy might be fine.
exhausting. I remember it being so exhausting.
Mhm.
Yeah, generally it would be people and how they interacted with me that would send me off down in a spiral. And
Yeah,
eventually it was like, well, if I let this happen every single time, I'm going to spend my entire life just energetically trying to
yeah,
recover
yeah.
people's shittiness.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um, so
absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
No,
Um,
there is definitely something about the undeterred that is very important, and that is, a practice. I
yeah.
believe that living goddess life is a practice, is a daily practice.
Mm,
Um, and there are going to be good days and bad days. And there are going to be days or weeks or months where you don't need help doing that. And some days you might do need a
mm,
helping hand from a human or from a goddess. And
mm.
in either cases, you can give me a ring, a call.
Absolutely. And
Or just,
all of Isaya's links are going in the show notes if anybody wants to try any of these things. I remember seeing your links for podcast, etc. I will make sure that that goddess quiz is in there. I'm sure it is.
it's on
Yeah,
page one of my website. So,
excellent. Easy to find then. Excellent. Because
yeah,
I'm certainly going to do that because that to me is absolutely fascinating.
it's
And
really fun. Yeah.
I could totally talk all day about goddesses with you, Isaiah, but if we
But we
can,
have a life.
we do, and yeah, I've got things to do. But if you could leave the viewers with one key message takeaway from you, your legacy, uh,
Yeah,
le
that's very simple. That's very simple because I've been thinking about that, not for your podcast, but in general. And it goes
Mhm,
like this. Really, whatever you want to be, whoever you want to be, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to have, start now, start small, keep going.
mm,
That's it.
yeah,
There is no other way than just walking the path every day. And don't give yourself the huge mountain. Just start small, but start
mm,
now. And
yeah,
please, please, for God's sake, keep going.
yeah.
Because I
Little,
am a living proof that you can get there.
absolutely, a little bit
And
every
not that
day.
there is a there, because we're still walking. I'm with
Mhm.
Buddha that the way, the aim or the goal is the way, or the way is the goal, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, it's part of the journey, isn't it? It's like being
Yeah.
the destination. I'm sure the phrase goes something like that. And it's interesting what you said, we're always healing and
Yeah.
not just on a spiritual level. That's a law of nature. Nature is always
Yeah.
renewing. Our body
Well,
cells are always renewing. We're always healing physically. So it makes sense that that
and
is
it's
also
also a very nice reminder as far as perfectionism goes, that perfection means something that cannot be perfected, right? So
Mhm,
that means that it's not moving anymore, that it's
mm,
fixed.
mhm,
Well, the only things that are not moving are the dead things.
mm.
As long as there's life, there's movement, there's healing, there's change, there's evolution. So, yes, we're going to be changing. We're going to be works in progress until the end of our lives. And that's good.
Absolutely, absolutely agree. I mean, perfection is just one of those myths, as far as I'm concerned. One is subjective, but the only things that are truly like perfect in that societal expectation are like clean white rooms devoid of life, or there's no
Yeah,
plants,
dead.
there's no people to make it, messy. And yeah, who wants that? Not me. I know.
Everything is in perpetual movement, changing, evolution. And that is really good because
Yes,
that means that
embrace it.
we're never stuck. We're
Mm,
just going somewhere.
mhm.
Sometimes we go in the wrong direction for a while, but it doesn't
Sometimes we
matter.
go a bit slowly.
If we keep going, we'll get there. We'll get
Yeah,
somewhere.
we do. May not be where we expected, but it's somewhere
No,
and
it's
everybody gets
never what you expected. I had for 2024, I had a plan that was perfection, and I'm using the word on purpose. It was
it.
just like I was going to do so many things, and then I got a diagnosis, and everything has gone haywire. And it's been so interesting. So many other things are appearing. What happens when I give up some things in the void? What happens? It's so interesting. And I'm so happy that I just didn't, sat down and cried for 3 months and then, lost it, basically. I'm so happy. And to be honest, so proud of myself for having done the work before. That leaves me with, this is happening for me. Let's see what we can do with that.
Absolutely. Well, we're so glad that you have that outlook as well, and you're
Yeah.
an inspiration. And really
Thank you
wants
so
to
much.
follow Isaya's journey with that, then it's all on her website, all on her blog.
Yeah,
So it's well worth
absolutely.
checking that out.
I'm kind of transparent about it because I thought it might be helpful for
I'm sure it will
it's
be.
helpful for me to write about it, and it might be helpful for other people to read about it. So
But always when you write from your heart, from your personal
yeah,
experience, you connect with others because we all go through personal experiences um,
absolutely.
that resonate with each other.
Thank
Well,
you so much.
thank you so much for coming on. It's really been fascinating. And yes,
Yes, thank you so much. I love talking.
yes, we noticed, but it's great stuff. So it's been an
Thank you so
inspiration.
much.
So yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much. And yes, I look forward to seeing what happens next with you. And yeah, thank you
I'll
everybody
keep you
for
posted.
thank you everybody for tuning in and listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please do like, subscribe to the channel, and share this in your social media to get the word out. And if you know any witches who would appreciate this, do let them get in touch, and maybe they can come on the show. So we'll see you all again for another Professional Witches.